We need to get transgender women out of women's sports. They are dominating the field because they are biologically men. Why aren't we bringing light to this? This is the literal oppression of women by men in the sports field. It's branching out now into transgender women in female sports. They're dominating those sports. They're winning those competitions against biological women.
How does that affect you? Please, are you playing those sports?
So do you guys not care that men are winning female sports?
Not men, first of all. Second of all, trans women. They are women.
So biologically they are male though, and men do have
women. And it doesn't matter if they're dominating the sports because it's just a sport. It's a game. It doesn't matter. As a woman, you as a woman should be comfortable enough.
But why should we allow biological men to compete with women? They have the upper hand.
Stop calling them men.
But that biologically they are men. I'm saying like scientifically they're men.
No, that's just wrong.
I understand your frustrations with trans women entering sports in women's categories, but trans women want to be respected. Stop calling us men, please.
Because, again, only women can get periods, only women can get pregnant, and only women can give birth. If a biological male is competing against you in a sport, he's going to win because men have more muscle mass. Men have a bigger lung capacity. Men are naturally stronger. So if you identify as a woman, you're still a biological male, and that's why Heather Mounsey of Australia is dominating in women's sports. Biological men are allowed to compete in women's sports, and they're dominating them in that field. And I do think that it is unfair. A biological man competed against a woman at kickboxing championship, and he fractured her skull. What do you think about that? And again, I think that that's what stems from this.
Well, first off, it does not stem from that. That has nothing to do with trans people at all.
But if you're identifying as a woman, then you're allowed to go play in women's sports, and then you're dominating the field in it. And you're taking away, again, from women's exclusive struggles of having periods, giving birth.
Okay, listen. No man wants to have a period. No man is sitting there like, oh, I want to have a period because I'm going to take this away from women.
But no man has a period.
Yes, they do. Men have periods because
Biological men don't have periods, though.
some men have vaginas.
Okay, but biological men do not. If you identify that way in your gender, then yes, but biologically, can we agree, if you have a dick, you can't have a period?
If you have a dick, you cannot have a period. However, if you are a man, that just because you have a dick does not make you a man. Just because you have a vagina, it does not make you a woman.
You know, it's interesting. I just don't feel like, you know, I asked you for examples and you named one by name, so I don't feel like they're dominating.
So,
you know what I mean?
It's because Heather Mounsey is the one that really shocked me. The other ones, I mean, you can look it up for yourself. You're right, I don't have them. Heather Mounsey, I have off the top of my head.
They're not dominating.
Okay,
there
but
was one that bothered you, but that does not mean that they're dominating the sport.
So let's look up the bicycling ship championship then. The woman who came in second place, who was a biological woman, I think she's bothered by it too.
You don't know that.
I do actually, because she put out a statement saying that it was unfair that a biological man won first place for a championship she worked her whole life to try and win.
So did that person.
The biological male.
Yes.
So you think it's fair for...
Transgender woman. Also
okay,
worked
so you think it's fair for a transgender woman who is still biologically bigger lung capacity, more muscle mass, naturally stronger, to compete against a biological woman?
I think there's also argument against naturally stronger. A great example is I feel like Serena Williams would kick the ass of any man in men's tennis.
Any man in men's tennis?
I think that she would hold her own very well.
But would she win?
As well as Billie Jean King won the Battle of the Sexes when they had that match. So there's, you know, it's I think that you're doing a disservice also to women by calling them less strong. But
biologically, women are less strong than men.
There are many women who are stronger than I am.
Okay, but if you look at it, if you look at men versus women, men are stronger than women. That's a biological fact.
You're not looking. It's not a biological fact when you're making a generalization. It's a case-by-case basis. There are many women who are stronger than me, and I'm a man, a biological man.
Right, but if you...
Transgender man.
Okay, well, I mean, if you want to use that argument, that's fine. But if you do look at
It's a case-by-case
biologically,
basis, that's what I'm saying.
men do have a bigger lung capacity, though. Men do have more muscle mass. Men are faster naturally. And again, that's not case by case fine, but still, naturally, that they still are all of those things.
They have a maybe they have a predisposition to those things, but again, there are people who start taking hormone therapy before puberty now. There are kids who identify in that way. There's actually.
Do you think that that's healthy for us to be introducing that to children?
I think that there is the reverse side of that argument where they say that you're letting people choose, like, I'll use a sexuality example first, right? They say, oh, kids can't choose kids can't decide if they're gay at such a young age. But how many times was I, when I was 5 or 6 years old, asked, like, oh, what girl do you like? What girlfriend do you like?
I agree with that completely. I agree with that completely.
It's impressive on people.
Shouldn't be doing it either way.
Either it's both or neither,
I completely agree with that.
So I would say that similarly, if a child knows definitively that they identify a certain way, then I don't see an issue in allowing them to explore that.
But I know that, for example, hormone therapy or testosterone, that alters you forever. And a lot of people are saying just wait until they're 18, just like with any other thing, to have them do that, because again, it's a life-altering surgery.
It is a life-altering thing. But the counter argument to that is, if someone starts hormone therapy before they've hit the stride of puberty, then your argument against people in sports becomes lesser, because then they're not developing those advantages. You know what I mean? So look, I definitely think that this is the one actual really big point of contention in this issue, and I think that it will be interesting to see how that plays out, because it is becoming more prevalent. There are some fierce-ass transgender women out there kicking butt and taking names and taking titles.
If we're allowing transgender women in women's sports, then why do we even have male versus female sports?
Well,
like, why don't we just combine all of it at that point?
Because transgender women are women.
But biologically, they're male.
Biologically, they were assigned at birth. They were assigned a male body, yes, but they are women. Transgender women are women.
Because they feel like they're a woman, but biologically they are a male.
But many of them have undergone surgeries to change their sex as well. So they're
okay,
not
well,
just,
let's go back to...
Biologically is male and female.
Yes,
Sex is men and women. They're not the same thing. Do you understand the difference between the two? Do you understand the difference between man and male?
I understand the difference between a feeling and a biological fact.
Okay.
It's not a feeling, though. That's where you're wrong. It's identity is not a feeling. Identity is who you are.
Sure.
You don't feel what's your ethnicity.
Okay, I agree, but
feel
then
that
again,
thing.
so this is my sign. I didn't know if you had read it as well. Only women can get periods, and this goes back to the biological thing about it.
Only females
If you
can get periods.
if you are born with a penis, you cannot get a
But
period.
only
Sure,
females.
but not
It's
all
not
women.
It's not women, it's females. So that's where you're saying.
Exactly. Yes, obviously, only genetically. Only,
Biological females can have periods.
yeah. Periods can only come from vaginas. No one's disputing that fact.
Yeah.
But we're saying is that not all people with vaginas are women, and not all women have vaginas.
Please just look up transgender women dominating women's sports because they are biologically male. That's what I'm trying to bring light to today with this, and the fact that only a woman can get a period.
Hey, you there. We have a problem. You see, there is a baby. The mother of this baby is not sure she's ready. The father of this baby doesn't want to settle down. The mother starts to have regrets. The father considers leaving town. But a friend says there's a solution. She says to have an abortion. The mother decides to look into it. The clinic assures her it's safe. She's made her decision. She's going to have an abortion. The problem is, that baby is you.
Join me, Owen Schroyer, at the March for Life, Friday, January 24th, in Washington, D.C., noon at the National Mall. I'll see you there. It's time to stand up for the unborn. It's time to speak out for the voiceless.